So Christmas comes early today. No, just kidding. It's the last day of bean harvest, we hope. As long as it all stays together. So we're gonna go check it out. So the first thing we have to do, we've got some beans on this truck and some on the cart. We need to get the ones off the cart before he can start combining the field. He's at now. We got a little patch we got to finish. And if we don't empty the cart, we got to do some entry on the scales to determine where the bushels go. So it's just easier to load it this way. There are some nice views. So with all of our bean bins full, today everything we have is going to go to market. We actually haul to an ADM. It's about 45 minutes north of home base. Nice getting in and out, not a bad facility at all. They take our Pioneer Plenish beans and we get a good premium on those there, so we're really happy with that whole program. Waiting on our air to come up, ready to head to the field. Up to the field, gonna untarp and unload the cart, and he's combining the very back, a kind of low area we had to leave early in the season. We're gonna get that cleaned up, and we'll be on our way to our last 114 acres. We always want to remember to untarp our grain cart before we unload, or for that matter load on it. We've done that, so it's always good to check, make sure it's undone. As I come up on the cart, see our tarp's been rolled. Thank you. So we're gonna hop in here, fire this up, and show you guys how this is where it works. So we have to hot wire this, just kidding. So what we have is our scales are on an iPad. With me here. So that's our weight that we have on there now. We name our field, our truck, and this actually was on the last field we were at. We get these bushels off, we go back to the back, and that's where he's combining. Finish this little patch so we can get on the road. We always have to fold the auger in and go down the road or around the perimeters of the fields. Grandpa's golden rule was always to keep the auger in on the combine. Our uncle actually bent one of those, so we were always told not to do that. So we have a joystick, and it controls your gates, your auger up, down, your spout, all of this right here on the joystick. Your gate open closes here. We'll be able to see it count down the scale as we unload. So we're going to flip the PTO on, open our gate, and start unloading. So we have 20,000 pounds on. 60,000 pounds is 1,000 bushels. That's a little heavy usually, so typically we're a little under that. This truck already has some bushels on it, and loading tarp side, it's a little harder to see. You can see an indicator here. That's for your gate, open and close. Right now I've got it, that's over halfway open. but typically open it all the way in dry crop, but it unloads fast enough with it partially open that we're all satisfied. Now let's head across the field. So we're in a second range here, and we go from 0 to 16 just by pushing forward or backwards on this handle. You can change your range where it goes 0 to 26 or just 0 to 6. It also affects the sensitivity when it changes range. Typically the grain cart, we have it set for 4 to 6 miles an hour when we run beside the combine. And right now we have it set at 16 when we're coming back to the trucks and running across the field. The scales dance around slightly when you're driving around, but when you stop, they really are always very close. It's been a great way to track things. This is called Libra Cart. I got an app that goes to our phones so we can all see the weights. Very handy. So you can see in the distance, we had to leave these beans. This area floods on some years. Some years you get a good crop. Most years it's just kind of in between. But like all of them, we treat them all alike. So we're down here getting what looks to be a good crop this year. Not bad. We have pattern tiled large areas of this field. It's got large main right next to the open ditch here. There's a creek on the other side of the woods. It actually holds water. You can see those areas where there's brown. That's a weed, probably cockabur. And those have survived the chemistry because there's just water pools right there. No crop grows. So we cut around those, and there's years that you can lose most of that field, and there's years that looks like this, not too bad. As he runs around the perimeter, a lot of times flood debris works its way from the creek. Also limbs and trees, really prone to fall. It's very normal for us to run something in the machine that's some kind of a flood debris related accident. So different fields have different splits. So to track the bushels, we want to enter the field that we're on, and then we can track the bushels. So now it will know any weight taken off this field goes on that file, and makes it easy to track, especially when we reconcile in the wintertime. It's really handy. So we had an emissions code, and I had this thing shut down the other day. Bro took a little time, had his way with it, and it seems to be running great. Don't know what he did, not gonna ask. Runs good. So we're gonna fold up just to be safe around the perimeter as lights are going off. So when they flash and turn off, that's 3/4 full. When they stay on, that's essentially full. We have a 50 bushel hopper extension on the top. So we actually have the 450 bushel hopper on ours. So the lights go off and you have that 50 bushel of space if you need it, which we usually do. The video is probably bad on this, it's kind of rough, but I figured I'd take a video pulling up on it. Going around the circle, and I'm videoing, we'll see how this works out. 45 foot head, 26 foot auger, it is tight, it works. Let's see if we can keep the combine rolling. It doesn't seem like a lot, but over the course of a season, it is a lot. It's a night and day difference having the cart run by it. Like we talked the other day, a third more capacity or more out of your combine. There he's done dumping. We'll kind of pull the side. We picked up 21,000 pounds there. As he folds the auger, you always want to be sure to pull away. The other thing, when you come to the end, it spits out piles if you stop. So to keep the spread pattern even, we always pull forward and let it continue to spread, because if you stop there, it unloads that pile, and then next spring that's wet, nothing comes up in that area if you don't do tillage or do some kind of fluffing over it. Can't believe we're possibly on the last day of our bean harvest. Now we only have 320 acres of corn shelled, so we've got a long way to go. 25 days, I'd guess, for corn. Big days, probably be close to getting it. Well, we're going to go get this unloaded, and we'll check back in a bit. And we have an engine air filter blocked. It's service time this morning anyway, so we timed that about right. We've got our head trailer, so when he gets done back there, we can leave. We're also going to take on fuel and depth in the grain cart and the combine before we leave, just to save the fuel trailer from possibly making an extra trip up. So we got done back there. We're going to take the head off, get ready to go on down the road. Before we leave, service truck, a little servicing, kind of go from there. Main thing today is just keeping it in one piece. We gotta get to the finish line. So I'm gonna hop off here, unhook his couplings so we can get on the road. Catch back with you later. So as he pulls forward, there's this piece here we're trying to line up there. And that means I gotta move. And like we did in the dark the other night, one honk pull forward, two honks back up. It works pretty nice versus going back and forth. The combine wallers a lot on the floaters when you're trying to line up in a short distance. So it's just easier to move the trailer when we're trying to hook that up. There's times we get good at it and times it takes a little longer. It just depends. And typically we have to put it on while we're in the middle of the road, cars coming, that kind of thing, so the pressure's on. So we've had some fiascos. Maybe we'll get some on video sometime. We'll work on that. Pumping def with the blue handle and fuel up there. This entire underneath the step here, that's all fuel tank. I'm not real sure if I think it's over 300 gallons. I'd have to check. I know our horsepower is 480 horsepower on this S680. We pump fairly fast and have our grease gun and tools, make some adjustments on the machine before we move on down the road. So today we have 114 acres. This is both sides of the road. It's got nice long rows here. So he should be relatively fast. We're going to be hauling these, like I mentioned earlier, to the ADM processor. I'm going to run the 3 hopper bottoms. Should keep up. The grain cart being as big as it is, leaves a buffer. So he's raising his hopper. He's going to be telling me to move forward or backward. That folds down so you don't get into the power lines. Flip of a button, pretty nice. It's not waterproof all the way and you can't have grain in there, but still very handy. Keeps it dry overall. Get him hooked up, get this show on the road. We're going to stay on this side to stay away from the wind. A few weeds there in the the fence road area there. usually work with the neighbors for the most part, so we can hang the sprayer boom over to keep those areas fairly clean. At times, get a few weeds in between there. Have a load waiting for me. A couple minutes here, we'll blow it full. We'll be on the road to ADM. An empty truck shows up and they're like lions on a kill. They line up ready to get it off there. Beans, we don't run the volume we do in corn. I think these are doing mid 70s, mid to upper 70s possibly. I talked to him, but corn, 200 bushel corn, you're handling a lot of volume. So it's going to be the last day for these light volumes. We'll be looking forward to getting into some corn. Hopefully it's done some drying while we've been gone. He's got a great start over here to this 114 acres. Looking great. Yeah, I like my electric tarps, you know. Holding the phone, shifting gears, keeping it between the poles. We've been here before. So they actually put crop underneath those piles. They store corn in those piles. They unload those typically in the winter. They get into the winter months and they'll unload those. A lot of work to tarp that, I'm sure. Well, as I'm filling my face to dry them, I'll show you around. We have to grow plenish beans like we've talked about. They actually have their own separate dump, which makes it nice. You don't have to get in line, have a corn guy in front of you, any of that. Really have done some extra things for us to be able to haul them up here easy. So all fall for us, pit 3 has been the plenish dump. We're gonna pull up here, dump our load. They've got nice big pits, so this will go fast. Nice place to dump. Goes fast. They've got multiple pits. We enjoy hauling here. A little closer look at the piles they do and cover those. See a payloader bucket right here. I'm sure they use one of those. And a lot of times they have a loader that backs into the pile and loads semis. That's usually kind of fun to watch. Usually quite a bit of spoiled corn on the tops of these piles when they're stored like that, but gets the job done. So we have 57,000 pounds on. 60,000 pounds is 1,000 bushels, and 1,000 bushels is a semi-load. You'll probably hear me say that quite a bit. So he just dumped around 20,000 pounds on us. And it's kind of damp here, so we're going to park the cart. So we can celebrate. Beans are done. I just got and take it home, and we brought the corn head. We're going to shell corn until it either rains or we fill stuff up tonight. Feels good to be done with the bean head for the season. Towing the bean head home for the last time of the season. Right now, we are done with beans. On to corn.
Okay, as long as the bin was dumping when you pulled in, that probably answers my question. I just kind of wanted to make sure that was, I guess.
And here we are, all 4 semis had to be fueled up. We're going to end the video here. Don't know how much of the corn footage I'm going to include. I usually get up early and edit these. There may be some of it. If it's not good footage, we're going to have a lot more coming. Looking forward to getting back into corn, showing you guys what that's all about. So we'll see you in the next one.